Hi, my name is Emma, and today I'm going to be talking to you about innovation, including the three main components of innovation, which are play, passion, and purpose. So let's get started. So first of all, I'm going to be defining what innovation is. In the book that we read throughout the real-world technology class, I believe it was called Creating Innovators, the author referred to innovation as creative problem solving. So what that means to me is that people have a problem and they want to make it better. They want to find a solution. Perhaps, you know, increase positivity in like a certain aspect of society, and try a bunch of new different things and different ways to make it happen and find a solution. So innovation starts at a very young age. Children are naturally more innovative than adults. This is because when children are developing, the neurons in their brain are still forming, they're still making pathways. So children are really curious, they're really creative, they just want to try lots of new things. They make mistakes. And they learn from them too. So for example, when a child builds a tower out of blocks, they'll notice that when they have a small base, the tower will fall over at a much shorter height than if they had a wider base. And so through trial and error, a child will learn how to create a tall tower rather than a short tower. And that's really what innovation is. In schools, I think there are a lot of things that both help and hinder innovation when we're talking about higher age groups, so like middle school, high school, mainly secondary education. One of these things that helps but also hinders is technology. I think that if we use too much technology in a classroom, it can become distracting. It can take the creativity and innovation away from children and adolescents. But if we use it in the right way, I think that it can really help people find new solutions to things, like hackathons. Hackathons are a good way to use technology to create solutions. But I feel like using cell phones in class, using computers in class all the time is really just a distraction. It's not going to help anything. Standardized testing is not good for innovation, especially younger ages. What we see now in schools are that teachers are really only teaching for a standardized test to make sure that their children and students get a good score on them. So that helps their school district to receive more funding, X, Y, and Z. But this really takes away from the creativity and innovation that should be fostered at a young age and into adolescence and eventually adulthood. So the importance of play, well, like I was talking about before, when you are young, your neural pathways are still developing, and when you make mistakes, when you try new things, X, Y, and Z, whatever else you can think of, it helps your development and actually makes you more successful in the long run. It helps problem solving, it helps to become more creative, it just has so many positive aspects, and I think it's really important for schools to continue having programs like recess, even when it's indoor. I used to have indoor recess when it was bad weather outside, like if it was raining or thunderstorming, or if we saw a bear, because we live in Somerset County, New Jersey, and there are bears for some weird reason. But even then, we still had a chance to play and develop and talk and just be with our friends, think creatively. And I think that's a really important part of schooling and public schools and private schools. So when you're developing passion, this is the next part of innovation. So three components, the second component. Passion is something that drives you. It's really what motivates you to keep going. It's something that you usually enjoy. Most of the time when you enjoy something, you're usually good at it. I'm really bad at math, so obviously I'm not going to enjoy sitting in a math lecture because I'm going to be confused and frustrated. But I'm good at history, I'm good at humanities, I'm good at language, I'm good at English, I'm a history major, education major too. So I'm really passionate about helping children and adolescents also be passionate about history. It's why I want to become a teacher. You know, I want to share my passion with others, and it develops from a young age. I've always liked history. My mom was an English major. My dad was a history and technology major. So it really is something that you always have with you. And it's something that drives innovation too. So when I'm a teacher and when I become certified and work in an actual classroom, I will use innovation when I'm teaching to, you know, drive my passion home with other people. So developing purpose. So like I was saying before, I want to be a history teacher. So that would be my end goal, is to be certified, you know, having passed the praxis for, you know, whatever subjects history and English, I guess. So that's my end goal. And it's really like the why too. So behind every profession, there's always like a why to it. Like my mom works for J&J. She's a marketer. So she has a why. There's a reason that she goes into work every day. There's a reason that she was motivated enough to start working in the corporate world. And, you know, that's like the last part of being an innovator, is to really know why you want to do this, know what your end goal is, and to just keep pushing your passion and motivation. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is innovation in the workplace. There are a lot of different companies nowadays that are using creativity and innovation to make new products and to, you know, really be successful in the business world. They have new business models. They have different strategy methods. They have different ways of meeting, communicating through, you know, technology. There's Skype. Skype's kind of old school now. FaceTime, I guess, is like the contemporary version of Skype, although personally I think Skype is better because you can video chat with like as many people as possible, while FaceTime you can really only chat with one. Anyway, irrelevant. But yeah, there are a lot of new ways to go about having a business that is really important for innovation. Of course, why would I talk about innovation without talking about Apple? Its revolutionary business model really, you know, created an opportunity for Steve Jobs and the other major players of Apple, who I don't know, to create this worldwide phenomena. It has new technologies. It took the question, how do we make phones better? How do we make computers better? And really just push themselves to create new things that will, you know, that have really changed the world and changed, you know, business, schools, has changed everything, in my opinion. So lastly, I will be talking about innovation in my field. I did touch upon this earlier in my presentation. However, I'm just going to reiterate some of the things that I said. So when I become a teacher, I will have to use innovation in the classroom. I will have to create different lesson plans. I can't just lecture although I wish I could. I love to lecture. I love to just ramble on. My exposition is kind of crazy, but I can't do that every day. So I have to think about what I'm going to do and, you know, come up with different approaches depending on the student. If, for example, if I have a student who is not fluent in English, I'm going to have to be innovative and, you know, come up with a solution to make sure that my student can succeed in my classroom without, you know, feeling too much pressure. But, you know, also challenging themselves too. If I have a student who has dyslexia, I can't give up on them and say, well, sucks for you, and I can't, you know, give them really easy work. I have to come up with a way where they can still be active in the classroom and feel challenged, but something that won't go too much above their comfort level. I will also be influencing students. I chose a very important profession where I will be shaping the minds of the next generation and generations to come, depending on how old I am when I retire. But it's really important that I, you know, choose my lessons very carefully, because I will be molding the brains and I will be developing opinions. So that's it. I really hope that you enjoyed my presentation. I had a lot of fun researching, writing my paper, and creating this PowerPoint, and I'm really happy that I got to share my knowledge and opinions with you all. So thank you so much for listening. Have a good day.